And we're live. Welcome to Hump Hangout, episode 491 on the 10th of April, 2024, where Bradley is kind of like still driving, and I think he'll jump on quite soon. On my end, the weather is pretty good this week. Was actually quite warm. Summer is definitely here, or like spring, I don't know, like it's 27 degrees Celsius, so like it's summer temperature here. So quite excited about that. Um, Anything else?
Yeah, just
There
wanted.
he is.
There we go. We got Bradley. Eventually, we got everything working. Sorry about it being late, everybody. That was partially my fault, but like Chris said, Bradley's driving back from presenting at SEO spring break, so he's got kind of a real world spring break situation going on. So as part of that, we're going to keep it really short today. So Bradley, stay safe. We got like two questions we're going to answer. But wanted to keep the momentum going with Hump Day Hangouts, and then we'll be back next week, of course, with the full length one. So, Bradley, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm driving. This is a first Hump Day hangout while driving and towing a fifth wheel RV behind me. So, yeah, we're going to keep this one brief.
Nice. Well, let's go ahead and one sec. I think I might have messed something up. I'm seeing if I made this private or not. Nope, there we go. All right. Let me go ahead and bring up the questions. Like I said, we want to keep it short, make sure Bradley stays safe, and but we are going to answer these questions. So, Bradley, the first question here is somebody's asking, I'm starting to do blog posts for clients. Is it worth it to repurpose these all to all Web 2 sites as well? Or would this result in, would it have an ROI or would it hurt? So basically they're doing blog posts, they're publishing them on the client site. Should they put them on all the Web 2 sites as well?
Well, that's like what our syndication academy method was for, that I used for many years, and it was very effective. And you can still do it. I mean, syndicating your own content to your branded profiles is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It used to be a very effective method for SEO. It's not nearly as effective as it used to be. It still can be, and it can't hurt anything, though. I mean, because again, now you have your social media properties or Web 2.0 properties in this case that you can build links to and be a lot more aggressive with those. So if you syndicate content or republish it, however you do that, typically that's going to be triggered via an RSS feed and some sort of automation. But if it has internal links in the post, it goes to the other pages or posts on the site that you're trying to promote, then it becomes like another way to build links, because now you have Web 2.0 assets with syndicated content with internal links, and typically you're going to have an attribution link or where you're going to cite the source. In other words, give credit to where the original version of that article was, similar to a press release. And that's again something like what we had been teaching in Syndication Academy forever. So it is, you can still do it. It's not nearly as effective as it used to be, but they can be additional link building targets. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying typically I don't do that anymore, but it's something that you can do if you are publishing posts for a client regularly. It's just additional link building targets that you can populate additional branded assets with content about that topic and everything else. So it can have a benefit if done properly, is what I'm saying. It shouldn't hurt anything. As long as you republish it properly with an attribution link, in other words, saying where the original was. That's what, if you're using an RSS feed to syndicate or to trigger the syndication, then a lot of the RSS, or excuse me, the SEO plugins will have an option to kind of add an attribution link to the RSS feed, so that every item that gets picked up from an RSS feed will always contain a link that cites the original source. And so, Yoast does it, SEO Press does it, Rank Math has those options. So it's something that's very simple to set up and easy to manage if you're going to be using that as kind of a method.
Cool. All right. And second question, I'm going to go slow through this. It's a bit of a longer one, but wanted to make sure we touch on this. So this is looking at Local Fury. So somebody was asking, I looked in the reporting portal for Local Fury and clicked through to all the Google stuff. There are a lot of URLs and lots of them seem really random, to be honest. I'm not sure what they are for or what I am supposed to do with them. Is there an explainer video? Is there any explanation of what they are or what they are for? Why do they exist? How do they help me rank? And what should I do with them? Which pages should I build links to? Which ones need to be indexed? Why are there so many link shortener URLs? Sorry for all of the questions. I'm just very confused and I can't explain this stuff to my client unless I understand it.
Okay, well, number one, I'm going to start at the end of that question first, which is, unless you're reselling those types of services to clients, and I recommend not explaining to them all the different things that you're doing and the different components that you do to get them results. You're telling them how the sausage is made. And why do we do that? Why do SEOs and local marketers feel like they must tell their clients all the proprietary methods that they use in order to get results? How many other industries are there that you walk in to a professional's office and you ask to hire them, and then you ask them to explain exactly how they're going to execute whatever it is that you hired them to do? And most of the time we just go, think about how you act as a consumer. You go into somewhere or even a professional service as a business owner. If you are hiring business or services, a lot of the times you just pay for a result. You're paying for something to be done and delivered. Why do we go into always telling exactly what it is that we do so that we can impress them, sound smart? Like, what is the purpose of that? I'm just curious. Now, that's a rhetorical question, because a lot of I have link building clients that ask me questions about, well, I got to explain to my client. Look, if you have that type of relationship with the client, then fine. But what I'm saying is, why start there? Why have that kind of a relationship with the client? I'm not, again, I'm not saying that there's not a time where that is appropriate, but most of the time, I think from a lot of experience in coaching a lot of people, they have diarrhea of the mouth in that they tell the client absolutely everything. I don't know if it's to make themselves seem smart or what, but most of the time the clients don't give a shit about that anyway. Can you deliver results? That's the bottom line, right? So anyways, now can you parse each one of those original questions out one at a time, and I'll try to answer them, Adam?
Oh, sure thing. Here we go. So I'm guessing, this is obviously talking about some cloud pages, GeoStacks. It says, let's see, I looked in the reporting portal and clicked through to all the Google stuff. Let's see. I'm not sure what they are, or I think we kind of touched on that. What am I supposed to do with them?
Okay. So GeoStacks are supposed to be for pushing geographic relevance basically into the Google business profile. It's to increase geographic relevance. That's all they're for. So a lot of those questions that you have aren't really necessary to do. Like, in other words, like what should be indexed and all that. That's not really necessary. By the way, links don't have to be indexed to provide value, guys. They just need to be crawled. That's it. They just have to be crawled to provide value. Everybody's always so fixated on stuff being indexed. As long as it gets crawled, Google can provide credit. Okay. So the GeoStacks are what we do as a way to kind of increase geographic relevance to that specific local entity. And so one of the things that I would recommend doing is just whatever URLs you get on a monthly basis for the GeoStack, pages or assets, the components of the GeoStack, is if you have an ID page, which Semantic Mastery, we've been teaching about ID pages since 2019. If you have an ID page, you embed the G sheet into the ID page where you extract all of your branded supporting assets, business directory listings, etc., and you put them into the G sheet and you concatenate them to various keywords that are relevant to the industry that you're working in. Okay, so you can take that. By the way, you don't stop adding to it. Why do we do? The reason why we like to use a G sheet in an ID page is because the ID page is static. We like to build it once and not have to go back in and redeploy it, because it's an HTML page, which means you'd have to update the HTML files and then you'd have to go back in and reload it to the server, all of that kind of stuff. We don't like to do that. So instead, take a G sheet and you create all of the branded and supporting assets as URLs that are hyperlinked with keywords that are relevant to your industry, and you publish a G sheet and embed it into the ID page. Then the ID page becomes a primary link building target, and you reference the ID page in the local business schema where it says add ID, right? And then anytime you build new branded assets, you get GeoStacks, you get new cloud pages, etc. You just add them to the G sheet. because it's automatically going to insert them into the ID page because it's a published and embedded G sheet into the ID page. So it gives you the ability to add additional branded and supporting assets to that ID page as you receive them or as you build them. So the ID page becomes one of the most critical components of local SEO, in my opinion. The way that I do everything is the ID page really becomes kind of like the entity home. And so that's there's no better place to put those URLs, because if you are building links, both topical and geographically relevant links to the ID page, which I fully recommend, then it's going to distribute across all of those branded and supporting assets that have been referenced in the ID page, either via HTML hyperlink, an embed, or in that G sheet, as I just mentioned. So that's kind of what I would recommend. And if you went through the Local Fury kind of onboarding, the onboarding process where we have the audits, there's a couple of sections specifically referencing ID pages in those audits. And we always recommend that you get those and you get them done properly. You can build them yourself. We provide training on how to do it, or you can purchase them from us at Semantic Links, or I can sell them to you at Semantic Links. And if you give us the G Sheet embed code, then we will embed that for you. And then you can go back in and add additional branded asset URLs, geostack URLs, etc., as you build them or receive them. And that's all that needs to be done.
Cool. Well, then I'm going to read the rest of this. If you want to expand on any of it, you can, or if you think that that is covered, then we should be good. But what else they were talking about is how do they help me rank? Which pages should I build links to? Which ones need to be indexed? That's kind of the gist of the rest of it. Is there anything there you want to touch base on?
Yeah, there's really no need to build links to the individual geostacks. You can. I mean, if you just, have money that you want to spend on links or whatever, you certainly could, but I don't, it's not really necessary. Like, as I recommend, you should be just taking those URLs and putting them into the G Sheet that's embedded into the ID page, and it build links to the ID page, because that's going to help. Again, if you do the ID page the way that we show you in the training that is provided in the audit reports, or if you purchase one from Semantic Links, it's going to be referencing all of your main branded assets anyways, and all the supporting assets that are currently available at the time that we build them. But if you provide us with the G Sheet, you can go back in and add them to that. And then always be building links to the ID page, because that's going to basically power up and distribute across all of the assets that are referenced in the ID page. So the individual links, you can build links to them. I don't recommend it, though. It's not really necessary if you do it the way that I just mentioned, which would be more efficient use of your budget. As far as the link shorteners, link shorteners are a number of reasons we do that. One is because it gives us kind of more control over the target URLs in case something needs to be swapped out or changed. But also, it's just a way to, because a lot of those URLs are stupid long anyway, so the short URLs just make it easier for us to manage the URLs because they're a little bit shorter. And then also, because through things like people that do build links to those URLs, it basically powers up that shortener domain, which again is just another way to kind of pass authority through just using the shortener in and of itself. Like, for example, I have one for Tree Care HQ that I use called tchq.link. We have one for Semantic Mastery, it's smshort.link. So those are just shorteners that we use. But over time, if you build a lot of links to those types of short URLs, it powers up the domain, and basically it just becomes another source of power, link equity. So that's why we do that.
Nice. All right. Well, hopefully that answers all their questions. That kind of wraps up that longer one about the links and link shortener URLs and all of that with Local Fury. So like we said, we want to keep this short and to the point this week so Bradley can make his way back east, and we'll be back next week with a full-length Hump Day Hangout. So any closing comments, Chris or Bradley?
I've got one, just that we still have a few openings. I was going to wait till next week to announce this, but in case there's anybody that's interested, this will give you another week to get on my schedule. We've got the DHA Beta Plus program, which is the first phase. It's a 3-month program, and we have I did a webinar to the people or basically a meeting or whatever for about 90 minutes 2 weeks ago, where I described the program, what it entails, what the costs are, all of that, what the outcomes should be if you were to apply and be accepted, etc. We're only taking 10 people. We still have a few openings left. So I'm going to post we'll post something about it at some point. Adam will probably do an email out to the list. Maybe this time next week, I'll have, we'll talk about it again in the Hump Day Hangout webinar, and we'll be able to share there's a document it's just a Google Doc that has all of the details of the program, plus the recording, the YouTube video recording of the, meeting or whatever that I did with the original applicants. That's all available. So I'm just letting you guys know that there is a few openings left, and it's a 3-month intensive coaching program where you're going to get a lot of literal one-on-one time with me, or very small group coaching with me over the course of 3 months. And at the end of 3 months, you will have a prospecting machine that will generate consistent leads for your agency. And so if anybody else is interested, Adam, for right now, you could probably just drop that survey link again, and we can just review it on Tuesday, see if anybody submitted.
Sounds good. I will put that in right now. If anybody's watching the replay, you can find it in the chat. But there we go. Also, Bradley wanted to pass it along. Had a comment from David Victor, said, "Great meeting you the other day. Hope you got your leak fixed."
Yeah, thanks, David. That was awesome. It was fun seeing David as well. He's tall. David's really tall. But it was great. I had a great time at SEO spring training. Got to meet several of our members at Semantic Mastery, plus just a whole bunch of other people. It was really good. I got to reconnect with Dory Friend. I haven't seen her since 2017, and it was really, really fun. I had a really good time, and it was I think a lot of the speakers had a lot of awesome information to share. And we have a mastermind webinar tomorrow for anybody in the Semantic Mastery Mastermind, and so I'm going to be going over a couple of the nuggets that I gleaned from some of there. So check it out, guys. If you're in the mastermind, make sure you're there tomorrow.
Outstanding. All right. Well, this will do it. Let's wrap it up. Bradley, safe travels, and we'll see you.